which you are very well aware. It full, as always, typical of the APC with the propaganda. It was full of lies, false statistics that does not attune to the realities on ground. And some of them we'll go into that as we have this conversation in specific terms. Some of course, you listen to the speech. I don't know how many Nigerians listen to it. From the body language of the president, even as he was reading those speeches, you know that he doesn't even believe in it. And when you prepare a speech as big as an independent speech, we should have a connection between the person, which is the president, who is actually making the presentation, and the body language should be able to show that. Because the president knew, and he knew at that broadcast, that he was saying things that are completely not correct. It was false. Because it's at variance, the whole content was at variance with the realities on ground that you and I and every Nigerian face today. You recall that the president, independence, I think we should talk about what an independent nation, an independence as an individual, what it means. It's actually a stock-taking event for a country. To say, look, as leaders of the country, that in the last 1 year or so, this is what we have done, these are our policies, our programs, these are the milestones, this is where we are. That speech failed completely in that regard because there was nothing to report. It was full of, we did this. It wasn't an account of a statement of what we've done and our achievement. There was no benchmark. So in totality, from our own perspective, it's a failed expectation as always, failed narrative, stories that does not attune to what the Nigerian feel on the street. So it was full of litany of untruths and propaganda and the promise of false hope. I recall they keep mentioning hope renewed, what they call this, right? They call their slogan hope renewed. The Nigerians know that there's been multiple incidents and situation of hopes that have been dashed, and expectation of young people, of women, of families, of businesses, of people who, after graduating from school, look forward to an opportunity to have a stake in life that the president and the government of the APC hasn't provided. The president said something which caught my attention. It was the fact that he said something to the fact that the economy is doing well now. I wonder how many Nigerians believe that. Because talk is cheap. It is actual activity and the feeling of the people on the street that makes the difference. So if for today, Nigeria will hear their president on an Independent Day speech saying that the economy is working and that it has turned the corner, and was wondering what corner it was that the economy has turned. Is it the corner of insecurity, which has affected agricultural production? Is it the corner of rising costs of living every day? Is it the corner of parents being unable to pay for their kids at school? Schools are just resuming people. For many of you, I'm sure you receive calls of people who want to pay school fees. Is that the corner of families living in fears? Only 2 days ago in Abuja, we had the gruesome murder of one of your colleagues. from Arise, a brilliant lawyer and journalist, a jewel of this nation in journalism, was so brutally brought down. And like we say, a moment like this when you have a president, what he does is to step up to the plate and recognize and connect with that pain. Because he's supposed to be the father of the nation. Somto Shuku had parents, had aspirations, had views, had hope, intent and hope to have a family someday. And it was cut down. And that didn't get a mention from the government. That's to tell you where we are. So independence means that you are free to take some decisions and not be in bondage. So let's get back to the bondage that this APC has put us in the last 10 years. You will recall that the PDP government paid off the debt of this country. But what did you find? The APC has taken us back to the bondage, so we're no longer free. That's what independence means. We're now dependent, and there have been so many reports of so much borrowings that are not tied to anything specific in terms of development or human capital development. It is to be funding appetite, the corrupt appetite and corruption of the government and its agencies and their officials. So, indeed, can we say the country is independent? Because these are the conversations that we should be having. It's not about just briefing. We're having an interactive section as Nigerians to know that, are we truly independent? When you cannot take decisions freely of your own, are we independent? Now, we do not even know the ratio of the amount of the debt that we owe and to who and to what project was it tied to and the account. Yesterday provided the president opportunity to say, look, from the withdrawal of subsidy, we've had about trillions being saved. How much is it? In addition to that, there have been trillions being borrowed. The latest was about $21 billion, and some other components in euros and Japanese yen and all of that in this country. What are these for? So we're deeper going down to dependence or sometimes to servitude to other countries. So these are the issues that the president needs to talk about, but failed. And the reason he failed is because they have nothing to run on. They have no record. The only record they have is insecurity. And that's another bondage that cannot be independent. The president talked about taking out the commanders of some non-state actors, Boko Haram and all the affiliates of those. And then you're asking, if there was true freedom in terms of independence and security independence, Somto Shuku probably wouldn't have been dead. Now you tell us, and you bandy these stories about, oh, we've killed XYZ commanders. But right on the street, on the road, we know we're not free. The president should humanize governance, and let's have a feel. Very critical and very significant is the fact that not many, substantial number of Nigerians didn't watch or didn't listen to the president. Why? Because they know it is the same false lies, statistics that are not correct. You said inflation was reduced by 21%, but is that reflected in the marketplace? Those are the issues that on Independence Day, the president should sit back, give an account of his governance in the last year and in the last 2 years. But that didn't happen because the APC, like I said all along, was an SPV, a special purpose vehicle for friends and their families to completely just plunder the country. And that's what they're doing. But I know that The hope is there in our PDP, and that's why each time we take steps towards our convention, knowing fully well that's the foundation of a truly democratic party that believes in the people, they are always fidgeting and they panic. So that's so much about the Independence Day speech, which I have described as completely uninspiring and, if anything, hopeless. Of household, 25,000 per household. Again, we don't have the statistics of how many households. But again, look at the disdain with which the president holds Nigerians, a tokenism of alms giving. In other climes, when you are in a situation like we have ourselves, there are deliberate policies to reflate the economy. And you are reflecting the economy not for consumption of invincibles. You are reflecting the economy into the area of production. And I'll give you an example. You can give a tax credit for people to improve their homes. And you're saying, if you put XYZ amount into improving your home, through, for instance, redecorating, the painting, and all of that, for that amount of all, it will be tax-free or tax-exempt. What does that do in real terms? It means if I'm going to repaint this house and I know I'm going to get tax credit, then I will be encouraged to repaint. Then I will spend more money buying paints. When I'm buying paints from the manufacturers, they will keep more people at work. And then you reflect the economy. Because that same money from government goes back to the people and it goes into production. And in production, you create more people, you create more jobs, or maintain more people at work. But what do you find today? Companies are shutting down in Nigeria because they can't plan. So it brought the idea of 25,000 to household, and you and I know if you go into the market, I don't know, a mudu of rice is how much? I'm not sure that 25 can do 4. And so for a family, that is the expectation, and that is the way the president has taken the Nigerian people. So those are issues that we talk about. They are the creeping snippets of fiefdom. You know, I'm doing you good. I give you 25,000 as a family. You should rejoice. That's his improvement. No, that's not improvement by our standards. Improvement in investing in people so that they can create wealth by themselves, and that way they can then have a cascading effect in the economy. And you can grow an economy. That's what the PDP did in 16 years. That's why you found the GDP. That's why when we left the government in 2015, we have over 600 billion. And we paid off the debts. Unemployment was like 7%. Today it is 30% plus X, where X can be anything. We don't know. These are statistics that are doctored. If there's deflation, or if there's inflation is coming down, or we should be able to feel it in our pockets. We should be able to feel it in the marketplace, feel it in housing. And so they are disconnected with the people, and that's why you find them now jittery. That's why you find them jittery. Other than facing governance, they're facing other political parties. What can we do to distract them, to cause sin among them? But unfortunately for them, the PDP is back, rolling and waxing strong, moving towards its convention steadily, methodically, without any crisis. With regards to that process, we're moving, we're focused, and we are there. And like I said, I will repeat it again. Figuratively, the train to our convention has landed in Ibadan, and the activities relating to that is working and working well. So, what Nigerians will expect of the president, having failed to take the opportunity to speak to her yesterday, is to come back and account, whether it's special brokers, to give us a detailed account of the savings on the subsidy removal. Should let us know how much from then to now. So we have the detail of the loans that have been taken and the application of those loans, and we're calling on the National Assembly to ensure that that happens. The president owes Nigerian a duty, and that duty we, as a party, will demand of him, and he must discharge it. Now we come up to an update on the convention. The last time I had the benefit of meeting with you, I gave you an update about the constitution of the various committees. Committees have started the work in earnest, and Ibadan is awake and very excited to receive PDP, the venue, the transportation, the security, the publicity. All the subcommittees are working seamlessly and working together. And our governors are doing exceedingly well to support the processes. And all our leaders and all our chapters are working together in that regard. So we are at home, we're satisfied, and I'm ready to report to you that we are doing very well towards the National Convention. That National Convention, like we said last time, is sacrosanct. It's moving on well, and we're very, very proud and happy to where we are today about it. We're focused on the convention. There have been a lot of distractions, as it were, or intended to be, but we're focused. It is that focus that is galvanizing this constant briefing so that we can let you know exactly what we're doing. So yes, there'll be irritation here and there, expectedly, in human activity, particularly when APC is involved in the mix, and you can see them being panicky. Rather than focus on governance, they focus on propaganda, looking for stress where there's none. So PDP is good. We're good to go for our convention. We're ready to go. We're fine. We're happy with what we're doing. And then, so let this conversation start. Thank you very much for listening.
All right, colleagues, the floor is open for questions. Anyone who has any questions?
It's a good day, right? It's a very good day, right? So we're fine. So we're good.
Vanguard, please.
Every chapter is involved. Every organ of the party, they're all involved. So my assurance is this, that there's no threat whatsoever to the holding of the convention, which is an elective one at Ibadan on the 15th and 16th of November 2025. So our members should be rest assured that everything that needs to be done, that's been done, and in very seamless way, we are moving all over the country towards Ibadan. Indeed, the preparatory train is already in Ibadan. To the second one, the PDP is above an individual or group. I think that needs to be put in the preface so that when you are having this conversation with people who are interested, for us, we are even very happy that Nigerians are interested in what happened to us because they recognize properly so that this is the only truly democratic party where we contest ideas, we agree on views, we disagree to agree, and that is the whole essence of democracy. We don't get instructions, but in it, there's orderliness, there is responsibility, and that is very key. And when anybody has the opportunity and the privilege of being a leader in this party, the minimum expected is responsibility. We have a document called the Constitution. Membership of a party is free. There's a free entry and a free exit. But as long as you're a member of a party, you're bound by the regulation, the rules, and more importantly, the constitution of that party. And it prescribes order. The chief executive of this party is the national chairman. And in this conversation, I would crave your indulgence to have some conversation with our document called the Constitution, so that when you're speaking to people who make inquiry, you will be guided by that. And so people have their roles, and then they need to respect that role. Oftentimes, people could either not understand or, for other consideration, pretend not to understand, or for the purposes of grandstanding, say things that are in at variance with the Constitution. But I'll tell you this. Section 35 of this document, and I'll read so that we can have this conversation. Section 35 provided for the office of the national chairman. And I need you to just take hold of this. It said, there shall be a national chairman who shall be the chief executive of the party, and his functions shall be, for those of us who are lawyers here, when a word shall is used in a statute, it is compulsory, it is mandatory, it is obligatory. And his function shall be to A, and hear this, summon. Sir, I need a phone so that I can tell us we're learning, we're doing a lot of conversation, it's not me and you. It is so both of us can learn better from here. It says, summon and preside, that's the chairman, over the meetings of the National Executive Committee, the National Caucus, and the National Working Committee of the party. That's the function of the chairman. And nobody else has that. All right? Summon. The dictionary meaning of summon, you can look it up yourself. It says, to authorize or order a gathering of. The chairman has the power to summon. Summon means to authorize or order a gathering of, called together by authority. He's the only person who has the authority to call the meeting. And so the premise was that, and is that there was a 607 National Working Committee meeting, which was summoned at the instance of the chairman. Now, I'll take you to section 29 of this Constitution so that we can be guided. Meetings of the NWC. It says, the National Working Committee shall meet not less than once every fortnight at the instance of the chairman. Or where he fails, because this concern is so almost complete, where the chairman at the level decides to be uncooperative and difficult. It says, or at the instance of 2/3 of members. So even where the chairman decides that he won't call a meeting, 2/3 of the NWC can call the meeting. So nobody can hold you to ransom. Okay? Now, we'll go back to 35. The chairman shall provide firm and effective leadership and direct the activities of the party. Then here, 35(1)(e), very important. The chairman shall assign specific function to any member or officer of the party. So the chairman can say, public secretary, issue the notice for the meeting. That's within the power of the, so that you understand these nuances, so that nobody comes in and then out of either ignorance or mischief or other consideration says otherwise. These are clear provisions in this Constitution. You can look it up. So, he can delegate his powers to the deputy national chairman. That's part of the job he has. Aside from the fact that I can call anybody and say, do this particular thing. So, those are clear. Now, let's get to the office of the national secretary. And so we can do an in-depth analysis of it, so that we know where people belong, so that people cannot draw conclusions or assumptions that are completely at variance with this document. there shall be a national secretary who shall be the chief administrative and accounting officer. 2 roles, administrative, and they're specified, and I'll read them. Whose function shall be to supervise the day-to-day activity of the party. So if there are no duties in the office, he's to take care of that. If the parking spaces are not organized, say, hey, if the place is dirty, go and make sure it's painted. That is the job. It says conduct or direct the conduct, hear this, of the correspondences, that is paperwork, correspondences of the party, and cause to be issued, notices of meetings, cause to be issued. So the chairman will say, I'm summoning this meeting, go and issue the notice. The secretary cannot call a meeting. He cannot summon a meeting. And until we understand that, we continue to wallow in this level of ignorance or deliberate falsehood that is not there. Okay? So that is the job. Keep or cause to be kept all records of proceedings. That is minutes. I was a complicated legal advisor of a bank. I can't call the meeting. The MD or the chairman of the bank will say, come convey a meeting. That is summoning. And until people understand that. Render written annual reports and activities of the party to NEC and National Convention. So the secretary will present a report of the activities of the party. That's why this constitution provides that there must be at least once a quarter NEC meeting. So that in every quarter, the national secretary will bring all the reports from the state, from the zone, from the national, and present to NEC for approval or for consideration. That's why the National Working Committee acts on behalf of NEC, subject to ratification. And also, with this, they are not rocket science. They are plain English language. Summon, go to dictionary meaning. Webster defines it so easily. Authority to summon, to call. When you don't have it, you don't have it. Ensure the implementation of the decision. This is important. Ensure the implementation of the decisions and directives of the National Convention, NEC, National Caucus, National Working Committee, and ensure that all units of the party carry out their duties promptly and efficiently. And I'll refer that, for instance. If the National Working Committee pass a resolution and the National Public Secretary, for instance, is expected or directed to issue a statement. Thank you very much. I think, and that's the premise, because I recognize in one of those things, there was some allusion that the meeting was illegal. And that's why I try to go into the pain of telling you who can convey, how you convey. Now, the meeting was properly conveyed. About 16 members attended. I think 16 out of a member of 18. I am aware that, as a fact, that the secretary was directed to issue the notice. As a fact, in document, I'm not imagining, I'm telling you, it was the meeting held. Matters on even elections and Congress that took place came before the meeting. Some of them were considered. We considered some of and ratified those of Kebbi in particular. The ward and local government was approved. And we said because the one for the state was postponed, we declined it because there was an instruction of this party. There's an order here. And people would recognize that. In Cross Rivers, there was a statement by the party, again an NWC approval, that it should be postponed. There was a statement to the whole world, including INEC, that it was postponed. So, like I referenced the last time, if anything happened there, it was a pre-Carnival movement. We're going to the season of Carnival in Calabar. Calabar is known for that. So people went to Calabar. They went to have a carnival. And you know, in a carnival environment, at some point, a couple of stocks can go into your system. And then when that happens, you begin to hallucinate. And so there was hallucination that there was a Congress. There was none. At that meeting, we considered Akwa Ibom State. And in Akwa Ibom State, the misnomer cannot continue. The misbehavior of a person, of an individual or group cannot be a new normal for the country. You either belong to one party or the other party. And that's what we said. We said, no, in Akwa Ibom, it's been on tape where the governor said, okay, I will control this, I will control this. It's dead. Okay? It's not me. It's in the public domain. And we know you can't belong to two parties at the same time. It's even illegal. Nwosu and APP in Imo State case, he was disqualified on the basis that he contested. Well, he was a candidate already, he went to contest another, and he was disqualified up to the Supreme Court. Justice Aoge was there. And all of this, these are all internal matters of the party that the Supreme Court has clearly held on. So if the party says, we don't have a Congress, why would an individual, no matter how big or no matter how few, say there was? There was none. That's clear. At that meeting, there were pictures and videos of the attendees at the meeting. They are there in the public domain. So the meeting held, properly conveyed, voting took place, and those decisions were taken. And those decisions are the decisions of the party. That you didn't attend a meeting doesn't mean that whatever happens there doesn't come back. And then you can't do self-help. You can't do self-help in our environment. Self-help is for where you don't have rule of law. In this country, we still propose that, and we still follow that. And in this party, we do, because there are structures, there are orders. And again, it must be emphasized that it is important, and I want to end that question with this, that when you are in a position of authority, and you are privileged to lead a party or any organization with that, what is expected of you is caution and level of responsibility expected of the office that you hold. And there are ways to convey disagreement without having to go public. And I think this is where we live. Yes, sir.